So you're probably wondering what this is. Well, besides being what you get when you cross the Batmobile and a dildo, this is RoboRace, or more specifically RoboCar, completing its first autonomous run up the hill climb at the 2018 Goodwood Festival of Speed. In fact, I was lucky enough to witness this event live, albeit secretly wanting it to plough at full speed into the barriers. Look, come on, you gotta admit, how funny would that have been? At this point though, it really did look like we could be watching the future of motor racing, one where even the human element was removed as the world's biggest nerds battled in the digital domain to improve performance. But cut to 2022 and RoboRace is no more, briefly becoming a meme in the motorsport community before fading away altogether. So what exactly happened here? Well, hey there guys, I'm Will, welcome to FP1, and let's see if we can work that out. So what actually is RoboRace? Well, it aimed to be a fully autonomous racing series, where teams were supplied with a spec chassis and powertrain, but had to develop their own internals and algorithms to allow it to navigate tracks on its own. The series was founded in 2015 by Russian businessman Denis Sverdlov. Yeah, that's the best we're going to do. Big boy Dennis didn't have much in the way of motor racing experience, so enlisted the help of 2016-17 Formula E champion and ex-F1 driver Lucas di Grassi, who would become the official CEO of the company and soon helped out on RoboRace's supervisory board. That wouldn't be RoboRace's only link to my favourite championship, however, as in November 2015 it was announced that RoboRace would act as a support series for Formula E, with its first races taking place during the 2016-17 season. At the time of the announcement, 10 teams of 2 cars were expected for the championship's inaugural season, which we'll soon see later was a bit of an overestimate. What was initially intended to be a support series eventually turned into some test sessions for the cars instead, the first RoboRace taking place ahead of the FE round in Buenos Aires, consisting of just 2 DevBot cars, which looked less finished than my final year university project, and one of them would even suffer the same fate, hitting the barriers after apparently pushing the limit to the AI on board. But you see, that wasn't the only problem. I mean, take a look at this clip from the event. It doesn't look very exciting, does it? Regardless, the series pushed on, debuting their RoboCar on track later that year at the Paris E-Prix, where it performed like a blind man trying to navigate a mosh pit. Yeah, this is genuinely as fast as it got. And it still managed to hit the barrier. Clearly, there was a hell of a lot of work to do, but in fairness to the devs, they went back to their mum's basement and coded away, arriving at the 2018 Festival of Speed like you saw at the beginning of this video. This may have looked like more of a success, but in reality, there was still a massive way to go. Just a month before, RoboRace opted to test their AI software against an actual human being, allowing pro drifter Ryan Turek to lap the Rome E-Prix track, then seeing how close to supposedly superior AI could get. Ryan, who only had a day's experience to practice the circuit, clocked in at a 1 minute 51.8. The car, meanwhile, was 26 seconds slower. Yeah, you heard that right. While work on the RoboCar went on in the background, a second version of the DevBot was still in the pipeline, as RoboRace turned its attention to its first season, dubbed Season Alpha in 2019. It was here that the series made its only good decision in its history, and moved away from Formula E, choosing to race at more traditional circuits in Europe and North America. Their hope for 10 teams, however, was still miles away from reality, with just 2 cars racing once again entered by the University of Munich and a company called Arrival, who owned the RoboRace company, so I'm not sure they really count. Now, I'll tell you how this season went, but I have no idea, as there's just no information about it online, and RoboRace probably didn't help themselves when they decided not to broadcast any of the events and instead just post heavily edited clips over on their YouTube channel. Let's just talk about this for a moment, because while the technology was admittedly improving, RoboRace didn't seem to have any idea how to market themselves as a brand. I mean, just scrolling through their YouTube channel looks like it was owned by a 14-year-old trying to rip off Ninja, not a professional racing series. RoboRace would get some exposure when they returned to the Festival of Speed in 2019, this time trying to beat the record for the fastest autonomous race car up the hill, which in fairness they did, mainly because the leaderboard was empty beforehand. By this stage, everyone had pretty much forgotten about the series, but the outfit would find themselves thrust into the spotlight once again, as they tested DevBot 2 around Brands Hatch in 2020.
With an entertaining sports watch, but also with real-world benefits. Oh no, and the start has not gone to plan.
This wouldn't faze RoboRace, however, as they pushed on with their second full campaign, dubbed Season Beta. This would be made up of 16 races between September of 2020 and October of 2021. though there was a little bit more to it this time. Because electric racing series aren't apparently exciting enough on their own, we of course needed some gimmicks to keep all the 5-year-olds entertained, and RoboRace would have their own equivalent, which they dubbed the RoboRace Metaverse. Kill me now. Competing teams would take part in these things called missions, which were made up of 2 races and had specific tasks and rules which could dictate how many points you would receive. And if that made no sense to you, then don't worry, because I haven't got a f***ing clue either. 7 teams would take part in season beta, and at least this time I have some results to show you all. Swiss team Macronis would be a rival to the crown. And if you're wondering how they did this, I don't know. But as much as I love you guys, I'm not going to give myself an aneurysm watching their live streams to tell you. Season beta would end up being the last held by RoboRace, as a rival pulled the plug on the project in May of 2022, citing the series' inability to generate income as the reason behind this, which comes as a shock to absolutely no one when you look at how they marketed this sham. All the developers have now gone on to work for other autonomous projects for a rival, and for the time being, it doesn't look like we'll be getting that racing series after all. That said, I'm not going to stay up all night crying about that. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and get subscribed to the channel for more motorsport content like this in the future. I've also just started a TikTok, so if you want more short form content from me, you can go check that out using the link in the description below. And hey, why not give me a cheeky follow while you're at it? Thanks again to all my patrons for supporting the work that I do. But that's all from me, so I'll see you soon with another video, but until then, have a good one.